This movie begins with the legend of Princess Carlotta from the land of Candace who saves some horses from falling off a cliff, and as a result of her bravery, she is rewarded with a gift to talk to horses. Princess Carlotta returns to her castle and writes a book so her descendants can avail of this gift, but she adds a warning that the book should never be lost because that would result in losing the gift forever. In the next scene, we see the present day where Princess Emmy is seen riding her horse along with all the horses of the royal stable. She loves spending time in the mountains and nature. Since she is the descendant of Princess Carlotta, she can talk to horses. She tells her horses to play fair, as letting her win the race every single time is getting boring. The horses playfully tease her that she is no ordinary girl but a princess, so it is only befitting that they let her win. They decide to race back home, and Emmy chooses her favorite horse Caesar, who seems more interested in eating the meadow grass than racing back home. Next, a press conference is being held at the museum where Professor Croup addresses the media regarding a particular parchment rumored to be an excerpt from Princess Carlotta's book, but when he turns to show it, the parchment has vanished. As it turns out, the magical parchment drifts through the kingdom, coming across David, who notices that Princess Emmy's cousin Kazana is in town. He brings the parchment back to Princess Emmy, the rightful owner of the parchment, who is in the stable with her horses. After alerting her about Kazana, David leaves and Emmy notices the parchment slip away from her hands, floating to a shadowed wall of the stable, where a magical light appears, opening up a secret passage. Princess Emmy follows the floating parchment that takes her to a basement, and when she tries to grab it, a booming mysterious voice tells her to pass Carlotta's test, otherwise she will lose her gift. Her horse buddies advise her to check Carlotta's book. She heads back to her room, to find the book stacked away on her bookshelf, and when she holds the parchment close to the book, it seamlessly joins back with magic. The next page suddenly shows a map to guide her to Carlotta's tower, which she figures out to be the place where she will find Carlotta's test. Despite planning to wake up early, Princess Emmy sleeps until late and things at home are not exactly helping her. Her brother Moritz informs her of their mum summoning her. When Emmy finds her, she reveals they will be hosting the annual Princess Day in this hall, and then she proceeds to surprise Emmy with her Princess Day dress. Dazzled by its beauty, Princess Emmy forgets about the test for a minute but soon snaps out of it as the test of Carlotta is her priority. Besides, as her mother, Queen Carla just told her, she has 10 days to prepare for Princess Day. She excuses herself before her father, King Carl, can offer his not-so-delicious baked cupcakes. As she dashes out of the hallway, she knocks down Vincenzo Massimo Saramonata, who has just arrived at the castle to prepare the young Princess Emmy for the Princess Day ball. The Queen apologizes for Emmy's excited behavior, and the royal housekeeper Miss Fionnuala guides him to the finest guest room. Next, we see Princess Emmy reach the landmark as depicted by Carlotta's book. Leaving Xaver in charge of the other horses, she proceeds to go further with Caesar and Rose. When they cross the mystical entrance into the mountain, their eyes meet the most beautiful landscape. It is like they have found paradise, with lush forests and breathtaking waterfalls. Emmy makes her way to what seems like a temple, and when she reaches the courtyard, a magical force questions her if she is worthy of the gift. Since they are running late, Emmy is reminded by Caesar to return home. On her way back, Emmy visits her friend David so she can figure out what this test is. He suggests it could have something to do with the tests leading up to Princess Day ball. Emmy sneaks back to her room, thinking to herself that she will ace the test. The next morning brings two surprises for Princess Emmy. As it happens, her cousin Princess Kazana has moved into the castle till the ball, and she'll be sharing her room, much to her dislike. Secondly, Fru Zwickelmeyer shows up to train the princess so she can pass all the tests required for the Princess Day ball, like dancing and playing piano. Kazana has always messed up with Emmy's belongings, and to get rid of her, Emmy takes her upstairs to a rather huge empty guest room, but the clever Kazana makes a racket, causing everyone to come rushing upstairs. This results in Princess Emmy moving out of her room to be shifted to the guest room. Next, Emmy goes to the ballroom where Fru Zwickelmeyer is waiting for her and they commence the dancing lessons, but they are cut short when Mousie enters the ballroom and it gets too much for Fru Zwickelmeyer to handle, so she leaves. Without giving Emmy a chance to explain, Vincenzo orders her to go to her room, where she calls David to inform him that her test might be about tolerating her cousin without losing her sanity. The Queen gives Kazana some food to share with Emmy, but being the evil cousin she is, Kazana eats it all herself. She does not convey Vincenzo's message of being ready early in the morning, which paints Emmy in a bad light. However, the training begins, and the girls are taught about balance, smiling, and learning the piano. The next morning, Princess Emmy rushes to the stable to be astounded when she finds Kazana there with her horse Daphne. Daphne is surprised to learn that Emmy can talk to horses. Kazana senses Emmy is up to something, but Donnie knocks her off and she stomps away. Caesar notices a smell like violets and investigating it, he goes over to the passageway. Emmy, Caesar, Xaver, and Rose descend to the secret basement where they meet the castle ghost named Gregorius. He guides Princess Emmy through a secret door that leads to the castle because he is worried that Princess Kazana might have discovered Carlotta's book in Emmy's room. When Emmy gets to the castle, David helps her in dodging Vincenzo so she can get to her room. She is flooded with relief when she finds out that the book is safe, and just as she is getting away from the nosy Kazana, she bumps into Vincenzo, who confiscates the book as a punishment for not paying attention to his lessons. He orders the princesses to head to the ballroom where Fru Zwickelmeyer awaits their dance lessons. Princess Emmy accidentally steps on Moritz's skateboard, which results in her plummeting through the staircase, which ends in disaster. Again, Fru Zwickelmeyer leaves because she cannot teach such hooligans. Princess Emmy notices she has sprained her ankle, so the housekeeper brings the stinky ointment that will fix her overnight. The overpowering smell of the ointment knocks down Vincenzo, who is taken to his room by the king and the queen. Kazana follows suit because she needs to get her hand on her cousin's book. Seeing this, Emmy decides to go through the secret passage to the horses. She does not notice that the house cat follows her, but when she does, she sends him back. The cat does not listen and joins Emmy, but in doing so, he leaves clues for Kazana to figure out the secret passage. She hears Emmy talking to the horses, but cannot figure out what her cousin is up to. The horses decide to help Emmy get Carlotta's book back, and Xaver suggests they sneak into the castle through the secret passageway to look for the missing book. Despite Caesar's initial reluctance, the horses go on with the plan and rummage the entire castle as quietly as they can, until they succeed in finding the book, right next to Vincenzo. Xaver quietly retrieves the book and then heads to Emmy's room with all the horses, where they wait for her to wake up. Emmy cannot believe her eyes when she sees all her favorite buddies in her room. They present the missing book to her that leaves her as grateful as ever. When she rummages through the book, she notices that one of the pages is missing, which means Kazana got her hands on the book. Just then, Princess Emmy hears her mom scream and she heads to meet her, cautioning the horses to stay put. The whole castle is a mess, everything turned upside down. The king and queen are contemplating if this mess is the work of a burglar, but since nothing is missing, they discard the theory. The housekeeper believes this is the work of the castle ghost. Everybody teams up to clean the mess, including Vincenzo, who thinks the whole family is eccentric. While cleaning, Kazana finds the missing parchment floating in front of her and she grabs it, hiding before Emmy can notice. When they are almost done, the horses appear in the stairways, because they cannot stay inside anymore. This gets Emmy in trouble since Vincenzo does not approve of her behavior. As a favor to the king and queen, he agrees to let Emmy stay in the ball, but only if his 3 conditions are met. He asks Emmy to clean up from now on entirely by herself, pay attention to her studies and stay away from her horses. If any of the conditions are not met, he will have to revoke Princess Emmy's invitation to the ball. Emmy is heartbroken to be parted from her horses, but her father advises her to take this condition as a test. So Emmy starts working on her studies and cleaning while paying excellent attention to Vincenzo's lessons. Meanwhile, David spots Kazana in the library trying to figure out the inscription on the torn parchment, but he tricks her into believing she is too smart for this folklore. When she throws the parchment away, it finds its way back to Emmy, who is delighted to have her book whole once again. Next, the horses are somewhat upset that Princess Emmy has forgotten about them. Caesar consoles them that she is just busy, and will return to them as soon as she gets free. Princess Emmy finally manages to start class before Kazana, and Vincenzo gives them a day off, so he can assess their progress and return with his decision the next day. Emmy runs off to the stable to meet her precious horses, unbeknownst to the fact that Kazana had followed her. She ends up learning about Emmy's gift and even the hiding spot of Carlotta's book in the attic. In the dark of the night, Kazana steals the book and heads to the horse temple as shown by the map in the book. Emmy follows her on Caesar. When nothing happens for Kazana, she gets enraged and ends up throwing the book down in the rivers. With the book lost, Emmy loses her power to understand horses. Suddenly, Kazana loses her footing and falls off the bridge, hanging for her dear life. Despite the grudges, Emmy chooses to save her. The girls head home on their horses, Emmy wallowing in the grief that she will never be able to talk to her beloved horses ever again. Back at the castle, all the elite have gathered and the princess ball has begun. However, Emmy is heartbroken and stays back at the stable. Kazana realizes she crossed a line here in her jealousy and apologizes to Emmy. Suddenly, the violets appear, marking the presence of Carlotta, who bestows the book to Emmy since she has earned it. Her gift of talking to the horses returns and she rejoices with her horses, Kazana a part of their secret now. When Vincenzo learns of Emmy's selflessness, he declares her test passed and Emmy has a great time dancing with her friends at the ball. This is where the movie ends.